it looks like I'm the last presenter of this session, so let's make a move. If you stay with me for the next 20 minutes, at the end I will give you a small present. So my name is Martin Peris. I'm a researcher at Cyberdyne, and for those of you who know the name of Cyberdyne, I must tell you we are not working on Skynet or the Terminators. No, seriously, we are not doing anything like that. So back to our paper. I'm here today in behalf of my co-authors to introduce you our work titled Towards a Simulation-Driven Stereo Vision System. So let me give you a brief outline of my presentation. I will give a little bit of background. I will talk about our proposed method, about the data set that we used, then describe the experiments and reach some conclusions. So everybody knows that stereo matching is amongst the most largely studied research topics in computer vision, and every year a lot of new methods appear. And of course, there is a wide range of applications for this kind of studies, like from 3D object reconstruction to autonomous navigation for robots and beyond. What we are going to contribute today is a novel algorithm for estimating stereo disparity using a learning-based approach, and also an extensive stereo dataset with ground truth data. So let me talk a little bit about traditional methods. They tend to perform poorly in low texture areas. They become really noisy. And to fix that, they require complex post-processing of the initial disparity maps so they can get smooth results. And that post-processing is time-consuming and hardly parallelizable, so it's really hard to get good results. So we were thinking if we could do something different. Maybe we could use a learning-based approach. So why a learning-based approach? Because relatively little work has been reported on this subject. And the real world is structured. It's not just random particles placed around as a structure. And existing methods with very clear sections do not exploit the hidden information that can be learned from ground truth data. And the main reason for that is that there is not so much ground truth data available. So we were thinking, given the proper amount of ground truth data, could we try to learn that hidden structure of the world? But first we have to overcome this issue of lack of ground truth data. So how should we tackle that? Well, recently, computer graphic techniques have played inspiring roles filling the void in domains like computer vision, like human pose recognition. So we decided to create our own highly realistic computer graphic dataset with stereo image pairs and ground truth disparity maps and much more ground truth information. So we are going to use our computer graphic dataset to learn a disparity classifier, and then apply that classifier, which I should stress, it's trained using exclusively computer-generated graphics. It's not real, it's inside a computer. And we are going to apply that learned model to a real set of stereo images, and we'll see what happens. So our proposal. First, I will talk a little bit about the conventional stereo matching methods. We get a stereo pair as an input, and then we calculate a cost volume. For each pixel and each disparity possibility, we calculate the matching cost of that point. And with that, we generate this cost volume. And with the cost volume, usually having only information from one pixel is not enough, so we tend to gather information from surrounding pixels, so we get that aggregation cost. And with that aggregation cost, we proceed to calculate the first disparity map, usually using a minimization for each pixel and possible disparity value. We choose the minimum cost, and that will be our disparity value. And then we should refine our first results, and then we get a good result. So we are proposing something a little bit different. Well, in the beginning we get our stereo pair of images. We also do the cost volume calculation. We will use for this feature called AD census. I will talk about it later. We generate the cost volume, but then we, instead of aggregating and minimizing, we use a learning-based approach to get our disparity map. So in this research, as we will focus only in this side, we will not consider the disparity refinement so we can get any improved results. We only want to take this. So this is the outline of our proposal. We have as an input the stereo pair of images. We compute the cost volume, and then for each pixel, we extract what we call a matching cost pattern. I will explain about it later. And we input that pattern into a classifier, in this case, multi-class linear disparity analysis. And the output of that classifier will be a disparity class, our disparity. And if we put all the pixels together, we get a disparity map. And about the about the learning process, we use our data set as an input for the training. We compute the cost volume, and for each pixel we extract the matching cost pattern, and we have the ground truth label. So we use that as an input to our method to get a learned model. So about the cost volume computation, we use AD census, which is one of the top performers in the field. I'm not going into detail, but AD census is just a combination of absolute difference of pixels and a measure called census, which is also known as local binary patterns. So this is just a combination of those features. And then for the matching cost pattern extraction, if we visualize the cost volume, something like this, this would be the cost for disparity 0, disparity 1, 2, 3, and so on. So we focus in this pixel up there. We surround it by a window of 9 by 7 pixels. Traditional methods, what we do is to sum up all those values, and they will get a single value for each one of the windows, and then choose the minimum. We are going to do something different. We don't know if that is the best way to do it. So we are going to put all together these windows into a pattern, and this pattern will be used for learning and then for classification. So for multi-class LDA, we train the classifier on a large number of ground truth matching cost patterns. And then during classification, we assume that the disparity value will be the disparity class with the highest score. Of course, this method is not perfect, and there is a small inconvenience. For example, in areas with disparity discontinuity, like for example here's the lamp and there is the background. Our pattern will have information of two different levels of disparity. But in our paper, we propose a heuristic method to deal with this in a later step. So, a lot of training data with ground truth labels is required, but where is it? So we developed the new Scuba computer graphic stereo dataset inspired by the original head and lamp scene that everybody knows. Here is the original scene, and this is the kind of the model process. And with that, we generated a sequence of 1,800 full color stereo pairs. It's about 1 minute video at 30 frames per second. And moreover, we did 4 different kinds of illuminations. This one is daylight illumination with the light coming from outside the windows. This one is fluorescent, illuminated with like this kind of illumination. This one is flashlight, like for example in an exploration robot. And this one is only lighted with the desktop lamps. So it's kind of very challenging. And moreover, we have the ground truth disparity maps with 256 levels of disparity for each frame. And also we get the occlusion maps and the near discontinuity area maps that will allow us to evaluate the quality of the algorithms in our dataset. And also we provide the 3D position and orientation of the camera on every frame. So this dataset can also be applied to camera tracking algorithms. And this is the good news, you can get it for only $4.99. I'm kidding, of course. You can get it for free at our website. I will give you a couple of seconds so you can copy this link. But also I have another good news is that today I brought with me this awesome DVD with part of the dataset. The dataset is huge, but I brought the first 500 frames of the dataset. So after the talk, please come to me and get your copy. So moving on to the experiments. We used our dataset to train the classifier, and we use a variable number of training samples using random sampling. As we use random sampling, we repeat the experiments 100 times per number of training samples. So we will use the original head and lamp scene for evaluation, and that scene has 16 different disparity values. So we will need to learn 16 different classes. We will discard the first 261 frames of the dataset because, as you could see in the video before, they contain the original image. It's kind of rotating around the original head and lamp image. So we don't want to learn on data that's going to be very similar to our test data. So we discard it. And the rest of the data set is going to be used to extract the training information. And we are going to compare our method to a simplified AD census algorithm. The original AD census uses a variable size aggregation window, but to be fully compatible with our algorithm, we are going to fix it to a 9x7 aggregation window, and we are going to discard the disparity refinement step. So here are the results. The vertical line is the disparity error ratio, and the horizontal you have the number of training samples. The red line is the results on this simplified AD census, and obviously it's a flat line because it doesn't change with any number of training samples. But interestingly enough, with our approach, we get better and better results increasing the number of training samples. So this to me is very interesting. So this tells me two things. One is that our approach can actually work. And it tells also that the dataset is good because we are using, remember, computer graphics data, and we are applying it to a real image, and we are getting kind of better results than this simplified method. So these are the numbers of our best attempt. This, in non-concluded areas, we get 9.16% of error. In all areas, about 11%. And as I mentioned before, we have a little bit of trouble in areas near discontinuity, depth discontinuity areas. But again, on the paper, we established a heuristic method to try to improve that in a later step. And here you can see the actual images. This is the left frame of the original stereo pair. This is the ground truth depth map. This is the result of the AD census. You can see it's kind of noisy, especially in areas with a flat texture. And this is the result of our method, which is kind of looks nice, smooth, and here you can see the magnified vision of these results. So, to conclude, our contribution to the stereo vision field is this novel learning-based approach to stereo disparity computation. We also release the new Tsukuba stereo dataset, so you guys can use it and please do awesome things with it. And as a result, in our experiment, we observed superior performance to a simplified 80 census in terms of error ratio, and we opened the way for new research on this topic. So now I would like to finish my talk, but not first without mentioning, I would like to thank the Ministry of Education of Japan for having given me the chance of doing this work at the Computer Vision Laboratory under the Mombuka Akusho grant. And also I would like to thank you, my co-authors, Maki-san, who has been really, really helpful writing this paper and reviewing and giving comments. So he's an awesome paper review and discussion guide. Also, Sarah Martou from the Computer Vision Laboratory, she's right there. She has spent almost 1 year of her life developing this stereo dataset, and she did a really awesome, she did a sick job of modeling every little detail of it. So she is our awesome dataset addict. Also, thank you to Okawa-san. He's the most awesome MATLAB coder I've ever met. And our professor, Katsuhiro Fukui, for all his guidance and his wisdom. He is personified awesomeness. So thank you very much for your attention. I will be taking questions.
Okay, before you grab those CDs up, do you have any questions? Sir.
Thank you for your inspiring talk. So your method is a local method, right?
Is what?
Your stereo method is a local method, is it?
Yes.
All right. Could you maybe explain a bit more what is really learned, how the learning really does the stereo matching?
Of course. So the trick here is that usually stereo methods take the contents of this, it's either of fixed window size or variable window size, and aggregate those costs. What we are doing is instead we are not assuming anything. We put them all together in that pattern, and we input it into our learning-based framework. And the framework extracts all the information by itself. We don't do anything else. So the approach is kind of simple. We are not assuming anything, and the classifying algorithm takes care of all of it.
So the input to the learning method is the whole cost volume.
Is this pattern here? It's a composition of those costs, those initial matching costs.
One last question. How long does it take for the original Tsukuba resolution, or what resolution?
Yeah, the original resolution is about 400 pixels by 300, something like that. So I haven't measured the speed, and we didn't pay much attention to that aspect. But it's not much slower than only calculating the minimum, because NRDA is very fast. So, and also the calculation of every pixel on the image is independent from the rest, so it can be parallelized at infinity. Thank you very much.
Oh, here. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I have a question. Usually disparity estimation behaves quite different between real live action content and computer-generated content. Did you try to emulate problems like adding noise to your CG dataset?
Yes, actually the dataset is really complete. For example, on the scene with natural lighting, when the camera approaches the windows, it gets overexposed, like a real camera. And also there is some, this is done with a professional rendering engine, so it's kind of photorealistic. You have motion blur, and you can simulate anything. If you want to be strong against any kind of noise, you just model it. So yeah, this is kind of very complete data set.
There's a chap been waving his arm at the back. Do you have a question? Yeah. And then we'll stop there.
Thank you for the talk. I just had one question. Now you obviously use this very expensive photorealistic renderer. Now, if I wanted to do it using a more accessible, like a pre-renderer, do you think the quality of your CG graphics makes a lot of difference in final output?
Yes, actually it does.
So, did you try like reducing the number of polygons and like seeing what's the effect?
Sorry?
Did you try rendering it with fewer polygons or something like that to see what the effect would be to?
You mean if we have tried with lower quality?
Yeah, CG.
Yeah. I tried with, there is some other researchers that were using computer graphic data, not to train but to evaluate. But I used that data and it was very simplistic. So the results were not as good.
Okay, well, let's all thank the jury in this session for, in the words of the last paper, a set of awesome presentations. Thank you all very much.